Welcome to Curatti on Air. Today's special guest is Keri Jaehnig. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Curatti on Air. It is good to have you here. I'm your host, Cheryl Tan with Cheryl Tan Media, working in conjunction with Curatti. As always, Andy Kapoloff, the COO of Curatti, is joining us. Hi, Andy. And we're so thrilled today to have our special guest, Keri Jaehnig, the CMO and founder of Idea Girl Media. Keri, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me. Great to see both of you and hear both of you.
Yes. Andy and I are just going to be students here because we're talking about something that I sort of have heard about. Like I see it on my Facebook profile, but I've never clicked on it. And I don't exactly know how to use it for my business. And we're talking today about Facebook stories. So Keri, thank you so much for talking to us about this, because it sounds like it's something that we really should be thinking about, at least thinking about marketing for a business.
I think so. And, we haven't seen this feature released for Facebook pages, which is more the business and marketing setting, but we have seen it released to personal users on Facebook. And so I like to think of it as an avenue for the ambassadors of a business. So the CEO, the entrepreneur, the consultant, the real estate agent, the restaurant owner, the chef, anyone who's doing something with a business purpose, but also has a personal brand element. This is perfect because we're so mobile on the go, and actually stories is it's very mobile oriented. It's exactly on the top of that mobile screen on your device, and it's the little circles at the top of the home screen feed. And I wish I had that little app to project it here for you now, but it's very quick and on the go and real time oriented as well. So those little circles give you a place to tell your story. And if you're at an event or you're working on a project, you get this little spiel of time, and it lasts for 24 hours, and then it's gone. So if you happen to put something up that's not necessarily perfect, that's okay, because it's not going to be there forever. But also, it allows you to have this human factor, gives your business that human face, that real natural aspect, and it allows people to connect with you. So I think it's, where we've seen Snapchat and we've seen Instagram stories, Facebook stories, they own Instagram. So this is very kind of hand in hand and very similar. You get a couple of different effects with the Facebook stories. I think they're some pretty nifty things that you don't see elsewhere. And it's where everyone is anyway. So it gives you that stories feature in the big blue Facebook comfortable setting.
Right. Well, you said it, in Instagram and Facebook, same owners now. So if you're familiar with Instagram stories, then you might know the layout and kind of how it works for Facebook. But why would somebody who maybe does Instagram stories, maybe even on Snapchat already, and Snapchat has its own live feature as well, why would someone take on something new on Facebook using Facebook stories? I mean, would it be just like another thing to do? Or are you kind of saying it's something you should think about now?
Well, let's take a step back and we'll boil it down. Okay. On Snapchat, you have to go somewhere else in your mobile device. It's another app. Yeah. In Instagram, that's another app. You may be used to using it. You may already be using Instagram stories, but Facebook, you're on it all the time anyway. Some people never log out. So in a way, is it really another thing?
Yeah.
Or is it the same thing with a more comfortable, it's easier to connect? So it depends on how you look at it. And you absolutely want to think about it now, because Facebook changes every day. In fact, today's Monday, tomorrow's Tuesday. I call it Tweaky Tuesday. They make all of their feature edits under the hood on Tuesday. So if there's anything wonky going on, it's usually on a Tuesday. But they're changing all the time is the point. And so they're evolving this platform, and they have a 5 and a 10-year plan, and they have places they want to move. So you can either move with them or you can get left behind.
That's so smart. You're so right to take advantage of what's out there. And since everyone's learning, everyone's sort of starting at the bottom. They're starting kind of all in the same place.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. But also, we're all moving all the time. So it's not, you can either hop in now, or, maybe you want to wait a month and research it, and you can still hop in and still grow with people. But the earlier you get on, the more features and the better you get at it quicker. And so you are also then ahead of your competition.
Love that. Okay, so you recently wrote oh, go ahead, Andy.
I have a question.
Yeah.
With regard to Facebook Live, so this is kind of live light. I think that it's shorter videos, and as you said, they only last for 24 hours. I wonder, first of all, have you seen that there's more uptake from people who were using the live videos before, and also would you encourage people to use one or the other in different circumstances?
Well, I think that different circumstances warrant different types of media, for absolute sure. I think the stories is a good way to think about it as far as Facebook Lite. Facebook Live, or Facebook Live Lite. Facebook Live, those videos stick around and you can repurpose them. The Facebook stories don't. However, you can download them and save them to your camera roll and then repurpose them if you want. I think that Facebook stories is a good way to, if you're not quite comfortable with live, maybe segue into it. If you need to feel more comfortable, but you don't have to. You can use them both. You can use one or the other. I really encourage people to use all, because the more tools you use, the better you are going to be at attracting your audience, and it just gives you more opportunities. I mean, more equals more opportunity, I think, and they're very different as far as, you can use the Giphy program from the Facebook camera, which is connected to the stories. You can use that option for a live presentation. And so, there's fun features or fun filters on the Giphy segments, and there's different ways to come at it, whether you're just there or with a camera or a microphone. But, you don't have to do all those fancy things. You can just make it basic and go with it. I think, though, is it either or? No. Is it either or? If it has to be, okay. But I think the more you diversify yourself, the more opportunity you have to attract your customer.
So I encourage people who are watching this to take a look at Keri's article that recently published on Curatti. It's called 7 Facebook Stories Best Practices for Business Owners. And in it, you really go through what an average business owner can really do on Facebook Stories. So they might be racking their brain for ideas, but how you really do it is kind of what you walk through. So can you maybe logistically go through how somebody creates a Facebook story, Keri? I don't know if you have a phone on you. You probably do. I have one. But like, does it come in the Facebook feed even? You have to go somewhere different on your Facebook profile to access it. But then where does it show up? Like, how do you view it if you're a friend of that person?
I totally don't want to show you this screen right here because oh my gosh.
Well, I don't want to see it.
I just got done with the press briefing for the White House, so I keep track of politics. Here we go. And well, I guess you're just going to get what you get. But okay, so if you can see this at all.
I can see
okay, those little circles at the top of the screen, right underneath the big blue stripe, those are stories. Those are people's stories. Okay. And those are people who have said, hey, this is what I'm up to today, okay? And they're my friends. So your friends see your stories. If they're not connected to you, they won't see your story. So you can also, I'm not sure if Facebook has offered this on their platform yet, but on other platforms you can block. That's one I don't know for sure, so I should check that out. But this little strip are the stories, and then you're just going to press this camera feature. And I have an iPhone. It's going to be very similar on other devices. Okay. So
wait, move your camera, Keri. I can't see it. Move it. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. All right.
And
so you just press the circle. You press the circle up at the top. That's what you're
doing. And then to like take a selfie or to show either way, you can go either or in front of you or yourself, and then you have different functions like the filters and so forth, or frames, and they change a little bit, for season or occasion. And if you look at my article of the stories, I actually give you where I've put the filter on my face, or I teach you how to go through step by step, actually right there, how to use it. And let's see if I can just do one quick.
Okay.
So that people can see what you would do. So,
so you're making a story right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to do it so it's actually something. Here, I'm going to have to get into the masks, I think. Okay, this is, you can actually probably see this one better. It's loading. Oh, and it gives you some sounds too. So, okay, so this gives you an idea of something that's possible. Getting a reflection on my end. So, this is silly, or you can be silly, or you can be authentic, and you don't have to add a frame or a photo. You can actually do video or a photo. So it's meant to be very real time. It's meant to be very authentic and playful, and to be exciting and something that people want to tune into. So yeah, and then if I want to save it, I just press that little arrow to save it to my camera, and it says saved. Or I just go ahead, and I'm hoping you can see this.
Yep.
And then you have a place to opt for just your story, or you can post it to your profile as well. So other platforms don't necessarily offer that option, but I could post this to my profile or just my story.
Oh, gotcha. You can do both with that one.
Yeah, and then you press the blue button here, and that's when you send it over. I'm not going to post it to my profile because I just posted recently, and I try to be conscious not to overwhelm my followers, my friends. So yeah, there you go. I did save this, so if you want afterwards,
I get to have it, right? So, Keri, can you take us through how an average business owner, so like, let's say we have someone who has an insurance business, for example, how that insurance business owner could use Facebook? Maybe it's Facebook Live, maybe it's Facebook Stories. How can you suggest that person use the new things that are happening with Facebook to create engagement, to market a business? And you did it so well in your article, but for those who haven't read it yet, maybe you can just take us through like what that business owner would do in a week, for example.
In a week. Okay, so I think that we also need to pay attention to, if we're in a regulated industry, there are certain things that you can't post. So please absolutely follow your industry laws. But, an insurance person might take a little selfie with a filter or not before they go into a networking meeting. And then maybe they're hearing a presentation about something new coming up in insurance. So they might take a little story and video the presenter and say, hey, we did this at our breakfast meeting or our lunch meeting, whatever it is. They could also, give people a view of their desk, like make sure there's nothing that people can't see on there, but, give them, hey, this is my workspace today. What are you working on? And kind of get them to respond to you and create that two-way dialogue. I think that, you might not necessarily want to do something every day. I have noticed that people that are using things more frequently, these stories are gaining and keeping up with their followers, gaining more traction. So, I would say start slow and build, and then work for frequent, maybe once a day, twice a day down the road. It's not necessary to do something every day, so I don't want people to be scared away by that. So, you definitely want to, if there's an update, maybe you can tell your audience about, hey, there's this controversial healthcare update coming up. Be sure to do this, and maybe it's tax season. Maybe they need to know something for their insurance. Do a video tip, tell them, and get it in selfie phase. Maybe it's bad news sometimes, so give them a bad news, but wear a really funky filter, for that news update. I think it depends on the person. It depends on the industry. It depends on what your goal is.
Sure.
So I hope I've given you a clue.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you asked for?
Absolutely. I mean, just some things to think about for sure.
Yeah. And I think
here's my question, which I'm sorry, I'll let you finish and then I'll ask my question.
Okay, sure. I think it's essential to give that human face. So absolutely give official information, but also give them that slice of life and give a fun update. And if you have to give, not so wonderful news update, be sure to either prelude that or follow it up with something fun. So you're keeping that mood, even.
Positive.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. So actually, you kind of touched on what I was going to ask anyway. You said you put a human face. So it's one of the things that we've all seen written many times. People need to know you. That that one of those most hated words by me anyway, authenticity, is if you can't be yourself, then I don't know. Let's not go into that. That's a different subject. But This is about the person behind the business, the person behind the brand, and as you said, puts a little bit of fun in there. So it's really, as I'm understanding it, a way of adding some humanity to everything else that you do, and to getting people to like or not like the real you. But they are getting the real you. They know who you are when you do this. Is that
like I'm more enchanting when I'm not the real me? You know, we just have this. But I was not one to love video. I just did not want to have myself on video, and you know, especially when you are now, you know, your daughter is older in college, and you've kind of changed a little bit, and you're not in your 20s anymore, and you're like, oh, people can see that wrinkle, or you know, whatever. And what if I don't have makeup on? You know, I just really that bothered me to the nth degree. But I'm getting, you know, I've even had to break that apprehension factor to do it, and you really. The quicker and the more you get that know, like, trust factor into your marketing mix, the better it's going to be for your business and your bottom line. And so find a way to do it, even if it's at first just taking that still selfie. And this stories function with the filters, it gives you the perfect way to build if you have to, you know. But I want to also encourage, you know how I saved my story onto my camera roll? There's no reason you can't upload that to your business page later on. Hey, I was playing around with Facebook stories. Look what happened earlier today or yesterday, or, you know, maybe do it as a throwback Thursday. Because if your audience follows you at both locations on Facebook, then you're not so repetitive. So, you know, there's a way to get around stuff. You know, shortcut it.
Sure. And actually, I want to delve into that time piece right now, because I talk with a lot of business owners, and sometimes we talk a little bit about content creation and social media, and their eyes glaze over because they think they need to hire somebody new to take care of it all. And I mean, that could be something they do in the future, but I would love for you to address that, because you've said it a couple times. You know, I don't want to overwhelm my fans and followers. It doesn't have to be every day. Maybe you work up to 1 to 2 times a day. Maybe you work up to this. So can you talk about how it doesn't have to be a W-2 that you hire? It could be just a few minutes where you put a little forethought into your strategy, and then that becomes your post for the day, or something you do for the week, or how you can do this without having it take up your entire work week.
Yeah, well, first of all, you don't necessarily have to hire a person for them to work with you. You can contract that person if you have a really ambitious strategy and you want to have someone work with you, you can always hire them as a contractor. So don't forget that. However, if you are a consultant and you want to do this on your own, maybe you really do want to do it on your own and you're the DIY marketer, you know, mindset. Maybe it's that you have a theme day. Maybe Monday is, you know, going to really hone in on Facebook. Maybe Tuesday it's going to be Instagram. Maybe Wednesday is a good day for LinkedIn for you. Be thinking that Facebook isn't the only place to be. However, it's a good place to be. So, or maybe in the morning you're gonna do a story, and at night you're gonna do a post. Map it out on paper, even though we're trying to be so paperless in our society. Or use Trello. I like that. It's a very easy project management platform. Yeah. I have several Trello boards, and I'll map out my strategies there. But get a strategy. And so don't be afraid to map it out and then say, okay, plan out your week. You know, on Sunday evening, you're going to plan for, okay, I'm going to do a story on Tuesday and Saturday morning. And then I'm going to do a selfie on Wednesday evening, and then that's it. And then the next week, maybe you'll do videos. But it also depends on what your plans are during that week. Maybe you have a networking thing and you want to do a video. So definitely consider your calendar, consider your strategy, and make everything fit together. So the more you visualize that and put it on a piece of paper or some type of mind mapping tool, the better. I hope that answered your question.
That's good. Very, very good. It gave me some ideas, and it underscores the importance of having a plan before you start. Like, you need a plan.
Yes. And you mentioned camera shyness of sorts.
Right.
And I know that there are going to be people watching this or listening to it who suffer from camera shyness. So how did you get over it? What would you say to those people?
You know, I'm going to confess to you, when I was younger, I was a dancer. And so every year I was always in the recital. and we were on stage, and then I was a performer musically, so I was on stage. So, I have to tell you, I got over those types of things early that you have to just say, okay, I'm going to go do it. But that doesn't mean we're not nervous.
Sure.
Absolutely. Every time I was nervous because it's like, what if I don't perform perfectly? What if my tutu flies off? What if a piece falls in my face? I can't see while I'm dancing. Or what if I screw up this solo that I'm playing that I worked for months and months and months to perform, and then I screw it up, So we all have to think about that. But the thing of it is there's something called practice. So you don't have to go live with it right away. You can practice. You can take 100 selfies of yourself before you actually post one. Make sure you charge your battery, but practice first. And, I will tell you that with video, I usually lose patience before I finally just publish. But the average video takes 10 takes for an everyday person that's not a pro. So if you have to take 10 takes, take 10 takes. Be comfortable with it. And then the more comfortable you are with it, the more comfortable your audience will be with it. And then you just go. But I'll also confess that right now I'm a little bit nervous underneath because I'm like, oh gosh, what if I have something on my nose? Or, what if I didn't give the answer I really wanted to give? So we're all human, and we have to realize that. And I think that's a little bit more of what Stories is about. We're all human.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's years and 24 hours.
Yeah, yeah. And we're all trying to get to the same place at some point, right? Keri, this has been phenomenal. Thank you so much for your authenticity, your willingness to share about Facebook stories. Do you have anything else you'd like to add that as business owners, some of us digital business owners, what we need to think about in the social media world? Just kind of last tips before we say thank you and goodbye.
Yeah, well, I very much appreciate you having me on today. I really enjoyed this conversation, so thank you very much for having me. As far as what we need to know, I think we talked about having a strategy, but also social media is always changing. Every single platform, every month, every quarter, every year. So the key is to keep learning, and I'll be working with a couple of firms to create some online learning courses, and they'll be available soon. And I guess the best way to keep up with me is ideagirlmedia.com, or you can tweet me. Every network, I think I'm at ideagirlmedia, all flushed together, or you can spell my name out, my first name, and I'm usually there, Keri Jaehnig, Jaehnig. And catch me on Facebook, connect with me, and I will be happy to share stories with you there. But yeah, so I was really excited to be on the Curatti blog, and I hope people enjoy the post, and I'm happy to answer questions there as well.
Learned a lot, that's for sure. That's for sure.
Yes.
Keri Jaehnig, thank you so very much. Andy, as always, a pleasure talking with you. And
thank you, Sharon.
Thank you, Andy.
And thank you, Keri.
Thank you. This is another episode of Curatti on Air. We will catch you next time. Have a great day, everybody. We hope you found today's Curatti on Air interview informative and entertaining. Look for new articles and video conversations with influencers and emerging leaders at Curatti.com. Thanks so much for joining us.